You don't get introduced. You get assigned. The room is colder than it should be. 18 degrees, always the same. A steel desk sits in the center, completely bare except for a single folder placed with exact precision. No name on it, just numbers. You sit without being told. A low mechanical hum fills the space, constant and indifferent. You stop trying to identify its source. You open the file. A problem lands on your desk that cannot be solved legally. There are no instructions. There never are. Only expectations. You didn't start here. 6 years ago, you were invisible, running errands no one acknowledged, carrying messages you weren't meant to understand. You learned quickly, not through training, but through observation. You watched who survived and who disappeared. You learned that questions created attention, and attention created risk. Your first solution wasn't intentional. A call placed 30 seconds earlier than expected prevented something from escalating. No one praised you, but someone noticed. Weeks later, another file appeared, then another. By the second year, you stopped waiting for direction. By the third, people stopped explaining things to you. They assumed you already understood. Your routine doesn't follow time, it follows disruption. A call at 2:17, a message at 4:52. A meeting that technically never happens at 11:30. You exist between systems, legal, financial, and human. You don't break rules, you adjust them. A witness becomes unreliable. A document is delayed by exactly 48 hours. A transfer of 2.3 crore rupees moves through layered accounts and disappears into compliance. Everything appears legitimate because technically it is. This is the system. It doesn't need to be explained, it only needs to be followed. There are rules, but no one writes them down. Never refuse directly. Never agree immediately. Never leave a clean line between cause and effect. Everything must resemble coincidence, or better, procedure. You file reports that confirm nothing. You attend meetings where outcomes are already decided. You sign documents that justify decisions made long before you arrived. This is what they call creative compliance. You remain inside the system while quietly reshaping it. In return, the system gives you access, better rooms, shorter conversations, fewer questions. By the 5th year, doors open before you reach them. Then something begins to shift, not abruptly, gradually. Your phone stops receiving familiar calls, conversations shorten, then disappear. People adjust to your absence and eventually stop expecting your presence entirely. You miss events, then invitations stop coming. It doesn't feel like loss, it feels like optimization. Fewer distractions, fewer variables. You tell yourself this is necessary, and it is, because your work requires distance. You cannot manage outcomes if you remain attached to the people inside them, so you reduce those attachments, one by one, until the only constant left is the system. The file arrives at 3:12. 2 clients, both critical, both powerful, both demanding outcomes that cannot coexist. One requires exposure, the other requires silence. Both expect results. You review the numbers carefully. 14 crore rupees at risk. 3 jurisdictions involved. 2 timelines that cannot intersect. There is no clean solution, only controlled damage. You lower the room temperature to 17 degrees. You think more clearly in the cold. You consider your options. Choosing one side is efficient but final. It guarantees survival in one direction and destruction in the other. Attempting balance is more complex. You delay one outcome, redirect the other, and create enough ambiguity for both to believe they've succeeded. It is unstable, temporary, and highly exposed. You do not rush. You never rush, because this is not about solving the problem. It is about surviving what follows. You make 3 calls, one lasts 12 seconds, one lasts 47, one never connects. That is enough. You initiate movement. Funds shift, timelines bend, information surfaces in controlled fragments. For 36 hours, the system holds. Both sides believe they are secure. Both sides relax. Then, as it always does, the system corrects itself. A discrepancy appears. Small, precise, enough to be noticed. Someone sees it. Someone always does. The collapse is quiet. There is no confrontation, no direct accusation, just absence. Calls stop. Access slows. Doors hesitate before opening. You review the system. Everything still functions exactly as before. Efficient, structured, uninterrupted, just no longer centered around you. Your final file is minimal. No explanation, no record of failure, only a transition. Replacement assigned. Effective immediately. You don't question it. There is no mechanism for that. You understand now. The system does not remove individuals out of anger. It removes them to maintain balance. You leave the room the same way you entered, no acknowledgement, no delay. The temperature remains at 17 degrees. The desk is cleared within minutes. Another file replaces yours. Another person takes the seat. They open it without hesitation, because they have already learned what you learned, just not yet completely. Outside, there is no waiting call, no pending instruction, no system adjusting around your presence. It continues without disruption, without memory, without recognition. And in that silence, you understand the final rule. It was never written, never explained, only demonstrated. Eventually, you stop managing problems. You become one.